Everyone knows Michael Jordan as a billionaire legend. But almost no one knows this moment. One late night, Michael learned his own brother was struggling to pay rent. No cameras. No announcements. What he did next wasn't about money. It was about dignity. And when the truth finally came out, millions were quietly inspired. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive into what really happened. This is not a story about championships. It's not about trophies, buzzer beaters, or sold-out arenas chanting one name. It's not about billion-dollar endorsements or global fame. This is a story about a quiet moment, one that never appeared on television and never trended online. Late one evening, long after the spotlight had faded, Michael Jordan sat alone in his office. The room was calm, the city outside already settling into silence. For a man who spent his life surrounded by noise, pressure, and expectation, these quiet moments were rare. Then his phone rang. It wasn't a call from a corporate executive discussing business. It wasn't a sports agent talking strategy. It wasn't even about basketball. The voice on the other end belonged to a family friend, someone who knew Michael long before the fame. The message was short, but it carried weight. Michael, your brother is struggling. He's fallen behind on rent. In that instant, the world's greatest competitor faced a challenge no trophy could fix. This wasn't something he could solve with discipline on the court or determination in a game. This was personal. This was family. Michael had built his life on overcoming pressure, hitting impossible shots, and meeting expectations no one else could. But this situation demanded something different. Not strength, not fame, not money, but understanding. He didn't react immediately. He didn't ask questions out loud. He simply listened. And in that silence, Michael Jordan made a decision that would never make headlines, but would define something far more important than his legacy as an athlete. What he chose to do next, he chose to do quietly. The Jordan household was never built on wealth or comfort. It was built on structure, discipline, and the belief that nothing valuable comes easily. Growing up, there were no shortcuts. No luxury. No special treatment. The Jordan parents believed in hard work, accountability, and respect. Every child in that home was taught to earn their place, in life and in character. Michael Jordan wasn't the only dreamer in the family. His brothers carried dreams of their own. They worked hard, followed their own paths, and chose lives far away from bright lights and cheering crowds. While Michael's journey would eventually take him across the world, one of his brothers remained grounded in a quieter reality. A normal life. A steady routine. Monthly bills. Rent deadlines. Real responsibilities. As the years passed, life slowly became heavier. Work opportunities began to slow down. Unexpected expenses appeared. The cost of simply getting by kept rising. And with each passing month, the pressure grew. But pride stood in the way. His brother never picked up the phone to ask Michael for help. Not once. He believed that asking would mean burdening someone else with his struggles. He believed he should handle things on his own, the same lesson he had learned growing up. Behind closed doors, however, the stress was real. Rent notices arrived. Late fees followed. And with them came a quiet fear, the fear of losing the one place that still felt stable. When Michael finally learned the truth, his reaction surprised everyone who later heard the story. He didn't feel anger. He didn't feel disappointment. He felt something deeper. He felt responsibility, not as a celebrity, but as a brother. Michael Jordan could have ended this story in seconds. A single phone call. A single check. But he didn't. Instead, he paused. He took time to think, not about how fast the problem could be solved, but about how it should be handled. This was not about money. It was about respect. Michael understood something many people overlook. Helping someone doesn't mean taking away their independence. Quietly, without informing his family, without attracting attention, and without letting the media know, Michael reached out to a trusted advisor. No one else needed to be involved. Not even his brother. Within a matter of days, the situation was carefully handled. The overdue rent was paid in full. Future rent was secured for an entire year, removing immediate pressure. Utility bills were cleared, and a small emergency fund was set aside to protect against unexpected challenges. There was no press release, no public announcement, no social media post seeking praise. But Michael didn't stop there. He knew that real support doesn't end with temporary relief. So through a third party, he helped arrange a new job opportunity for his brother, one that aligned with his skills and experience. A position that offered stability, purpose, and the chance to move forward with confidence. The goal was never to rescue. The goal was to empower. Michael Jordan didn't want his brother to feel saved. He wanted him to feel capable. By choosing silence over tension and dignity over display, Michael showed a side of greatness that had nothing to do with basketball, a side rooted in respect, understanding, and family. Months passed. Life moved on, and Michael's quiet act remained just that, quiet. No headlines. No photos. No recognition. Then, by a simple mistake, the truth started to surface. A landlord mentioned a payment that had already been handled a long time ago. Confusion followed immediately. Questions arose. How was this possible? Who took care of this? Eventually, his brother confronted Michael. There was a mix of curiosity, relief, and embarrassment in his eyes. He expected an explanation, maybe even a lecture about family responsibility, or a reminder of how lucky he was. But Michael's response was simple and profound. He didn't smile proudly. He didn't seek credit. He didn't speak about money, fame, or success. Instead, he said quietly, "You're my brother. You'd do the same for me." That was it. No judgment. No show of superiority. No need to impress anyone. Just family. Later, his brother shared this moment with close friends, explaining that it wasn't the money that moved him. It was the respect. The way Michael helped without making him feel small, without stripping away his independence, and without making the gesture about pride or recognition. That quiet, selfless act didn't just save a home. It restored dignity. It reminded his brother of the true meaning of family and support. In a world where generosity is often measured by attention and applause, this moment stood apart. It proved that the most powerful acts are sometimes the ones no one else sees, acts done purely out of love, respect, and care. And in that silence, a deeper lesson about humanity and family unfolded, one that would stay with his brother forever. The story of Michael Jordan's quiet act didn't explode in the media. It wasn't plastered across social platforms. It reached people slowly, through whispers, conversations, and those who valued the true meaning of family and respect. When the story began circulating, something shifted. People realized this was not the Michael Jordan they had always seen on posters or in highlight reels. This was not the competitive superstar screaming after a dunk, or the larger-than-life celebrity in every headline. This was a man who understood something most people forget. True greatness doesn't need applause. True generosity isn't measured by attention or recognition. Michael Jordan showed that helping someone doesn't mean controlling their life, and that real acts of kindness don't require an audience. In a culture obsessed with showing off wealth and generosity, he chose privacy. In a world chasing fame and approval, he chose humility. He didn't need to be seen helping his brother. The act itself, quiet, respectful, and empowering, was enough. And that's why this story resonates with millions. Not because of his fame. Not because of his legendary status. But because of who he is when no one is watching. A man who understands that respect, dignity, and love are far more powerful than money or recognition. Michael Jordan didn't just teach the world how to win basketball games. He showed us how to win at being human. Sometimes, the greatest moves happen far away from cameras, far from applause, in moments of quiet courage and selfless love. And that is the lesson that millions carry with them, that true greatness lies in the small, unseen acts that lift others without asking for anything in return.